For those of you jonesing for a commitment, Alabama may get one Friday in the form of a Caden.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me, and Jimmy Stein, that's him. Jimmy, I'm going to ask you, how are you today?
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm good. When I'm on a morning walk, I see the most incredible things. Like this morning, I saw Big Al. That's just the first time that's happened. I've been doing this walk for a long time. It's pretty rare. You're just walking across campus, and then there's Big Al. But it occurred to me, I'm like, people that are strangers to Alabama's campus are people that think that happens all the time, that you're just driving around and boom, there's Big Al. But actually, no, that was first. And then what was later at first is I saw James Smith, the superstar, 5-star true freshman, and Miles McVay separately, not together, not like a bike gang, separately on scooters, just flying across the quad. Man, those scooters can get up and go. The little scooters that you rent by app, and they were on.
Yeah, but is it like a standing scooter or is
no?
it?
They were sitting. They were sitting. They were sitting.
Okay.
And I'm not sure how it moves, but it goes fast, and you can use your phone. It's kind of like almost like an Uber. I mean, in terms of how it works. Man, they were flying.
I used one in Phoenix when I was there recently, and I had my 6-year-old daughter, and you're not supposed to, but I was standing on it, and she was in front of me. And as we were going, there was this huge, like in Phoenix, it was kind of weird. There was this big parade, pro-Christian, pro-Jesus parade, where all these folks coming, Jesus is coming back, and, repent and whatever. And there were like 200 people, all with these signs. And we were going the opposite way, like against the current. And I was trying to maneuver through these people. And my daughter, Sela, says, "Don't break up their Jesus practice." And I thought, it's pretty funny. Anyway.
Well, I don't know what they're doing. I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I just, when I saw McVay, I was like, he probably should be walking. I wonder if I caught him. I mean, I would think the staff would want him to walk to class.
Yeah, that's probably true. Well, look, we'll talk more about some guys that should be walking, guys that will be walking in the next segment. But right now we're going to talk about Cayden Jones. This is one of the top linebackers in the country from Arden, North Carolina. Roughly 210 pounds. Listed at 6'4". That's pretty doggone big. He is. I've seen him anywhere. I think on threes, I'm in the top 100. BOL and 24/7 have him in the top 175. He's going to be making his commitment on Friday. It certainly looks like it's going to be Alabama. What do you think about him?
I'm real impressed with Cayden Jones. This is a good player. He's the ultimate. You hear me say this a lot about all these inside linebackers we take because they're all so similar. And it's clear that we have a type that we like. And, hey, y'all are just going to have to change, your expectations of what you want these guys to look like. It's just changed over the years. Inside linebackers used to be 6'1" and 235 or even 5'11 and a half, 225. And these short, stout, someone that's going to bump heads with the fullback and tackle the running back in the A gap. That's just not a player we're recruiting anymore. I wonder if Kendrick Blackshire might even be the last of those guys. I mean, he's the only one we have on the roster right now that sort of fits that, although Kendrick's not too short. But he's a kind of a throwback. I mean, in terms of just a hulking presence at inside linebacker. Now we like athletes. And I'm not saying Caden's definitely going to play inside, because guys that are athletes like him, they can play inside or out. So I'm not 100% convinced he's a Will or Mike. He could be. I sort of like him at Sam, which is a real pass coverage position for us. And I think that's what this guy almost does best. He plays in space extremely well. He's very fast. I believe Joseph Hastings uncovered that he's run that he considers fives, which is an outstanding time. And I believe it watching the tape. He's a speed player. He's a pursuit player. Against the run, he'll be really good at chasing down backs, on like outside runs. He'll get to the corner before the back will. I mean, that's what kind of player he is. He'll be really good dropping into coverage. Where he's going to lack a little bit is exactly what you think. If he plays inside, it's, will he stand up in the run game? Will he be physical enough in the tackle box? I think that'll be the question with him, is physicality, because he's just a runner, but he's also pretty aggressive. He's a defensive player, no doubt about it. But just an athlete. That's why I'd describe him, just very athletic. Sort of reminds me on the current roster of Deontay Lawson. I'll tell you, he's a lot like is Trez Marshall. He's like Jahad Campbell, I think is a very, very good comp for him. And in terms of where he should rank nationally, I would go definitely top 150. I think top 100 is not a stretch, but I don't know. I mean, I think top 150, which makes you just a solid 4-star. But I like the good fit, and he's an athlete, and that's clearly what we're trying to do at linebacker. I know a lot of people think of linebacker, they think of Dick Butkus or whatever, but we got to remember, teams that we play now, they throw the ball over 50% of the time. So if on more than 50% of snaps, you need guys equipped to handle the pass. That means pass rushers and pass coverage guys. And a guy like him can do both. He can get downhill because he's so fast and he's long, but at 6'4". But he's just the modern 2023 linebacker, not the throwback.
I get the feeling that Alabama offensively is moving back towards more of a rough and tumble, whereas the defense is trying to go more, not finesse, that's not the word, still be very physical, at the same time maybe be a little lighter from linebacker backwards. Maybe up front, you want some Jaheim Otis's, some big boy James Smiths, some Tim Keenan's. I know all these guys have lost a little bit of weight too, but it feels like less I don't know another way to put it, because it's not lack of aggressiveness. It's hard to say, but I think it seems like we're going more for speed because we're going to run up on offenses like you said. But it makes me feel like Alabama's ahead of the curve because these things come in cycles. You go in a situation where everybody's, some people start passing the ball, then that's a trend and everybody starts to catch on. Well, the good programs, I think, get ahead of that trend. They're like, okay, everybody's starting to go this way. Well, we're going to try and go offensively physical and maybe defensively still keep up with the passing attacks, et cetera. Does that make sense? I'm sorry.
It makes perfect sense. Just think about Ole Miss, and I'm not saying that's the team we got to beat, but Ole Miss is on our schedule. We play them every year, and I think Ole Miss is sort of typical in this way. If we have a run-stuffing inside linebacker on the field, Lane Kiffin's first thought is going to be, here's someone I can take advantage of. It's Alabama. They're better than us, but I can beat that guy because all I got to do is make sure I can get him on a back in space, trying to cover my back in space, and I can make hay with that 6-8 times a game. Whenever I need to make 15 yards, I can take advantage of that. If you have a real athlete and a pass coverage guy there, then a matchup guy like Lane's going to go, all right, this is how I can take the ball right at him. Really, Lane? Is that what you're going to do? With what? Now, I know Judkins is a great back. That is totally true. But I just don't think Ole Miss has an offensive line that's going to blow our defensive line off the ball and take full advantage of. I mean, I just don't think Lane Kiffin's going to beat Alabama by rushing for 360 yards and not throwing the ball. I mean, I just think we're harder to take advantage of when we have everybody on the field is good in coverage. It really affects the other team's ability to get mismatches. It sort of forces them to play physical in the run game. That kind of plays into our hands too. So I think this is the modern answer to the spread. I mean, offenses went to the spread. Defenses have to answer it. This is the answer. It's safeties with corner skills. It's linebackers with safety skills. Everybody on the field can cover.
Jimmy, let me tell everybody about FanDuel, grand slams, no-hitters, double plays, all that stuff, balks. They're all back. Everybody loves a balk. And there's no better place to get in on the MLB action than FanDuel, which is America's #1 sportsbook and the official sportsbook partner of Major League Baseball. That's because right now new customers will step up to the plate with a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Just go to FanDuel.com/locked-on. You can sign in, sign up, get your first bet up to $1,000 back with that no-sweat first bet on bonus bets if you don't win. Are you going to bet on somebody hitting a home run? You're going to bet on over-under strikeouts. Will there be a balk? You can bet on all kind of crazy junk like that. Don't miss your chance to go get that no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/locked-on. That's FanDuel.com/locked-on. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball and also NBA. Jimmy, on tomorrow's pod, we're going to be really getting you ready for the scrimmage. We're going to talk a lot more. Hopefully, we'll have some basketball news. We thought we may have some serious basketball news today. We don't just yet, but we hope soon. And hopefully, we will have that tomorrow. Meanwhile, there was a great article on On3 by your boy, Clint Lamb. He ranked I don't know if he ranked them or just said he didn't necessarily put them in order, but the 5 newcomers generating a lot of buzz this spring. The number 1 would probably surprise people if they hadn't heard about the scrimmage last Saturday, and that's Justice Haynes. He has been pretty unbelievable so far this spring. He seems to have everything you want in a running back, and man, he has taken advantage of the fact that McClellan really hadn't been available. Richard Young isn't on campus yet. And everybody loves him, some Jam Miller and Roydell Williams and all that. But Justice Haynes is making a move, bro.
Yeah, he's just going to be too good to keep off the field. I mean, we don't need – running back. Sometimes, we'll talk about Caleb Downs. I know he's on the list. We needed a safety. We didn't really need a true freshman running back in the sense that Jace McClellan, good player. Roydell Williams, good player. Jam Miller, potentially great player. That's 3. You don't need a 4th, but along comes Justice Haynes. And then it's with him, it's like he's got to play. He's got to play. And we will see him. I predict, Luke, we will see Justice Haynes. I predict right now we'll see Justice Haynes in the first quarter of the first game, which is a heck of a thing to say about a true freshman, but I just think he's too good to keep off the field. And I don't want to hurt. Jace McClellan and Roydell Williams have earned senior season shots to be the guy. They really have, and they're good players. But Justice is just he's a different guy. Now, the comp you're going to hear and read all the time, it's cheating in the sense they're both 22, so they look alike. I mean, in their jerseys, they're both. Mark was 22 here, Justice wears 22 now, and they're extremely similarly sized. Justice might be a tad bigger. I do think Justice is quicker. I think Justice has even better feet than Mark Ingram, which is saying a lot. And I think if Justice ever gets the chance at Alabama in year 2 or 3, as he's gained experience, I think he literally, it's fair to say he could be a Heisman Trophy winning running back. I mean, I think he's got that sort of upside. But the best news at Alabama is, Luke, he's going to have to share the ball because there's other good players, and it's going to keep everybody fresh. Hopefully everybody brings a little something different to the table and makes us harder to defend. But Justice Haynes, no doubt one of the top 5 guys. I wouldn't put him at number 1 because I don't think he's going to be the starter or the guy. But he is a true freshman that will be a big part of Alabama's successes in 2023. Absolutely. Mute.
Yes, I'm muted.
People like it. A guy told me Saturday.
They don't.
I like Luke's mute thing. It's funny.
They don't like it though, and it's Jesus.
He's like
breaking up on Jesus practice. Anyway, so the guy I would have at number 1 is the guy that checks in at number 2. Again, I'm not necessarily sure these are ranked. I would think that they are by Clint Lamb, but he has Caleb Downs number 2. I would put Caleb Downs number 1, if only for the reason that I believe Caleb Downs will be the starter and Justice Haynes won't be.
Right. And I agree totally. And hey, it's the thing to talk about A-Day, big story Saturday. I'm looking forward to that myself. I know it is, but probably the biggest storyline is just the very fact that, you know, the Crimson team is the first team defense. So on the Crimson team, the starting defense, that's Alabama's starting defense as of today. I'm pretty sure, can't swear to it, but pretty sure you're going to see Caleb Downs out there alongside probably Malachi Moore as a starting safety. And A-Day will be the 15th practice and not the first one that Caleb's been a one. Just remarkable that he could do it so quickly. Not the physical part of it. Hey, the fact that he's big and fast and can cover and hit, that's not a surprise to anyone that saw his tape, which I was arguing or could have argued that he was the best prospect in high school football last year. What's amazing is the intangibles, the fact that he defense quickly enough to not be lost, the fact that he has the maturity to sit, stand, run alongside our ones and not be out of place or fish out of water. He picked up on things quickly. I love the Minka Fitzpatrick comparison with him, not so much because it's dead on in terms of physical skills, but the intangibles. You know, Minka picked up on everything at Alabama and then played every secondary position we got. That's Caleb. I think Caleb will be at safety this year. I won't be surprised to see him at star in the future. He can certainly play money. The only question I have is, can he play corner? I wouldn't bet against it.
Then the guy that Lamb has at number 3, Malik Benson. And again, I would probably move him up one and move Haynes down to 3, only because I believe Benson will be the starter. That's really what it comes down to. Haynes may be the star of the show when all this is over, but I believe Benson is going to be a starter. Now, to be fair, he's writing this in terms of who's generating the most buzz. And I would be willing to bet, we all thought Malik Benson and Caleb Downs would come in and do great things. In fact, probably be starters. Nobody probably thought Justice Haynes would come in and be one of the stories. So maybe the generating buzz thing elevates him to 1. It depends on how you want to do it. That being said, I would still have Malik Benson at 2, and I think he's going to be absolutely fabulous this year.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Benson, I think that's another guy. Now the white team, is the first team offense. So when the white team trots out there for the first time, for the first snap, look for 11. Let's see if he's out there. He might be. I think that's a might be. I certainly would predict that he will be in the fall. I think Malik Benson is going to be our best wide receiver this fall. I'll say that. And I know that's the sort of thing that Nick Saban hates to hear for a guy who hasn't played in the college football games. That's why Saban probably refuses to listen to the show for that reason, because I say stuff like that. But I think Malik Benson will be Alabama's best wide receiver this fall. And what I love about that, not only does it give Alabama a weapon that they didn't have a year ago, to me it improves Ja'Cory Brooks and Jermaine Burton, makes them even better, because I think those guys are outstanding supporting receivers. They're outstanding when Malik Benson is going vertical and he runs the post. Maybe Jalen or Ty doesn't see it or doesn't like it, so he's not going to go to him. But you know what Malik just did? He took the safety with him, because you better run with Malik, and it better be more than just one guy, particularly when he sprints across the deep middle like that. Now look at Ja'Cory Brooks and look at him. The safety's gone. I mean, that's what Benson's going to do for the other guys. He's going to make life easier on the guys around him. And that what a great player does. He the rising tide lifts all boats. That's Benson. I think he's going to improve everyone at wide receiver and be our number 1 receiver. Look for him on Saturday to trot out there with the starters. Maybe he will, maybe he won't.
I totally agree. I mean, again, I'll say it for the 1,000th time. That was our problem last year. We had a bunch of Robins and no Batman at wide receiver last year. We waxed poetic about Ja'Cory Brooks the other day on the podcast, saying, gosh, when you watch Bryce Young highlights, it seems like Ja'Cory Brooks is already on the receiving end. That being said, I think those were highlights. I think we also know that there were some times we probably needed more of a Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy kind of guy, and we weren't getting that. Jimmy, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll run down these final two guys on Clint Lamb's list. And we're back. So first of all, basketball-wise, I mentioned hopefully we'll have some news. Hopefully we will. It seems like the transfer Estrada may be committing soon to Alabama. It seems like Alabama leads for B.J. Mack. Those would be positive things. Tyler Perry has canceled his visit, the transfer from North Texas. I really wanted to get him only for the Medea jokes. But regardless, it's not going to happen.
Fantastic and reason enough to get him. Some people are saying, that Alabama's got another plan at point guard, and maybe that's JQ. I saw a negative comment this morning about JQ. I don't, fans, it's always the one they haven't seen is the one they want. They've seen, JQ's cynics or critics. It's because they've seen him. They've seen him a lot. He's been playing here a while. And always play great. When he does, you want him. He's the best point guard in the whole SEC. When at times, and next year he'll be a year better and know what the NBA wants to see. There's every reason in the world that I can assure you, Nate Oates wants Javon Quinterly back on this basketball team.
So the final two on the 5 generating the most buzz this spring are Cayden Proctor at 4 and James Smith at 5. I can buy that. I can do that. I would probably, again, change the order if I were being honest. But I think that I can see that Cayden Proctor making a move, seems to be second team right now, maybe trying to shoehorn his way into the first team. James Smith, I feel like he's going to end up being a starter, Jimmy. So that's why I would change those two. But just for the last segment here, talk about those two guys.
Yeah, well, I'm just to pick one and brag on one. James Smith, my guy that I shared the quad with only briefly, as he was only on it for 2 seconds as his motor scooter reached speeds of excess of Jalen Waddle. What I would compliment Smith on is this: he showed up to a crowded position. I mean, he showed up and there's a Boygby and Otis and there's Tim Smith and Latham and Payne and Burrows. And he showed up and he's like, no, I'm getting snaps. I'm playing snaps. I'm playing snaps. Some of y'all are going to have to sit down because I'm playing snaps. That's impressive as heck for a true freshman to show up and take snaps from a veteran. And I feel that's what James Smith is in the process of doing. He'll probably be with the twos, though. The second team defense is the white defense. I'm guessing James Smith will be the white defense. But going up against the second team offensive line, James Smith's going to have his moments on Saturday. You can go ahead and write that down. Now, Proctor, what I hear, has been as advertised, which is saying quite a bit, because he was as advertised as maybe the best lineman playing high school football last year. I think the fact he's at left tackle right now doesn't mean a lot in terms of where we might see him in the fall. I think for the past 2 or 3 springs, we've started out true freshman tackle. They moved inside to guard. J.C. Latham did that. Tyler Booker just did it last year. Booker, who started or played with the first team at guard all fall, actually played tackle last spring. That's what Proctor's doing right now. And I think he's on the same track as the Evan Neals and J.C. Lathams and Tyler Bookers, who have played both at Alabama. So Proctor, my feeling is this, Luke, I think he's just outside the starting group now and waiting to pounce. And the starters better play well. I think we have 5 guys that they're comfortable with: Pritchett, Dalcourt, Booker, and Latham. My advice, those 5 guys, is you better play well every week, because there's a dude waiting for a spot, and he ain't going to be waiting long. So those 5 starters need to play well. Cayden Proctor, by early season, mid-season, he may be ready, and he'll want a spot. So better be playing good.
Yeah, I think I saw a post by you talking about how we don't appreciate the size and ability of Cayden Proctor enough yet, because the number 1 offensive lineman, I think, who's coming into Alabama soon for a visit, number 1 offensive lineman in the 2025 class, is only like 260 pounds.
Right.
Cayden,
right.
I mean, I don't remember the name, and again, that's a little too far out for me to think about, but I just Cayden Proctor is just such a gargantuan person.
Yeah, I think he showed up at 365, and while that got to spend at least a year losing weight, not really, because I think you got to lose some weight, and a lot of that weight comes off in fall camp because it's 110 degrees out there and weight just falls off of you. And I think the weight he loses in almost regular practice, to say nothing of reshaping his body with Coach Ballou, I think Cayden Proctor will be, his playing weight's probably 335 or 340. And that's probably like where he's going to be. Whereas guys like Jonah Williams, a lot of people don't read, Jonah Williams apparently weighed like 240 pounds in the 10th grade, and then eventually worked his way up to 300 pounds when he was at Alabama. And I think that, the number one kid that's coming in here, the 25 kid that's number one, kind of similar player to Jonah Williams.
All right, buddy, that's going to do it for today's pod. Be sure to join us tomorrow. Be sure to come back tomorrow. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to download, do all those things. We appreciate you so much. You guys are the best. And we will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, roll tide.
Roll Tide.